everyone. Happy Tuesday it is. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I decided to jump on live just because I have a little bit of time and I want to say something here. And also I wanted to give everyone a chance to ask me questions again, do a live Q&A. So as you can see, I got a haircut, which it has been a really, really long time since I got a haircut. Not because I don't want to, it's just because my haircut, how do you say that? My hair lady, she lives quite far away and I don't really go. Welcome everyone. Let me know where you're from, where you're watching from today. And I want to just touch on a few things and then I'm going to open it up to a live Q&A where you can just ask me. Hey there, Galaxy Light. Nice to see you. And there Siri is thinking I have something to say again. I don't know why. My phone is very sensitive. Siri comes on very easily when I speak. Yeah, just let me know where everyone's from. I love how many people always get on my live streams. This is so cool. And like how many questions you guys ask. I don't mind answering even if it's the same questions. I totally don't mind because I know that every time it's a different angle. And sometimes you just need to hear it from a different angle in order to understand. So Greenville, South Carolina. Yeah, I will get into your questions very soon. I wanted to touch on a few things here. England, Merseyside. Okay, I don't know where that is, but I'm going to England again in the fall. In November, I'll be in London. France, bonjour. I'm from Hungary. Very nice, Hungary. South Africa, hello again. Cape Town, very nice. I have a few friends in Cape Town that I studied with at university and when I studied opera in the States. And they've always said, oh, I need to come visit sometime. And some of them are at Cape Town Opera. So yeah, that is one of the places I still need to go. I've been to lots of places. Japan. Hi from Japan. Kumai. It's nice that you're here. Thanks for hanging out. And again, just for everyone, Lebanon, Liverpool, UK. You're all, yeah, Janet, there you are. Scotland. Okay. A lot of people in that corner up there. And just to let you know, some people don't know because my English doesn't really sound German, but I am German. I just lived in the States for a really long time. And I live in southern Germany in the Stuttgart area. Actually, Tübingen, if anybody knows where that's at. That is a smaller city in southern Germany. So I would like to touch on a few things before I get into the Q&A. Okay, so hold your questions for just a few minutes. And I have about 20 minutes or so now before another one of my students comes. I just wanted to touch on simplicity. This has been something, and Janet, I know you're here. We talked about it yesterday in masterclass in our meeting. Simplicity is something that I think is often overlooked or not really focused on, but it is such an important concept. When I had my gig last week on Friday, I had a gig and I sang. We had this, 3 sets of 1 hour each. I think about singing a lot when I'm singing there because this is the kind of repertoire that I've sung so many times. So it's like autopilot, but I don't really have to focus on what I do because I even know the words by heart. So I really have lots of time to just think about certain things. And a lot of times I experiment a little bit with my voice, not to where anybody could hear it, but I experiment different placements and how to tweak things just a little bit to make it easier on myself and to make the sound more open to where I have to work less hard. It still doesn't, it all sounds good to everyone, I think, what I do, but it's just for me, I'm always trying to find more ways to make it easier to where I can sing for hours and make it yet less straining, less demanding, and just having more sound with less putting in less stress, less work. So And I think simplicity is a really important concept. So instead of thinking very complicated, I think being accurate in pitch is the one first really, 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 really most important thing you could ever do, you could ever work on, is more accuracy in pitch. Because let's face it, most problems that really arise mean that your pitch suffers. So whether it is your voice cracking or your vibrato not being even, or not even breath flow, or lack of support, it will all affect your pitch control. And when you can't control your pitch and your pitch is varying and off, that's when it's going to sound bad. It doesn't necessarily sound bad when you're a little bit unsupported, but your pitch is basically still right on. That doesn't bother me that much as a listener, as your audience. But what does bother me is whenever you're slightly off pitch, that bothers me the most. So instead of, let's see, what songs do we have? Let's just like a simple song. Stand by your man. And I can't even think of the words now, but even just that one phrase, you don't want to go, stand by your man. It's not accurate. You need to just think more simple. Stand by your man and tell the world you love him. See, very simple, very direct, very accurate melody line. No wobbling, not when you do slide, when you do, scoop up, don't stand by your man. See how it's getting very inaccurate? Stand by your man. Very direct line. Also, another one, I know another one is when people, I had several students whom I worked with on Hello by Adele. Hello, can you hear me? And they're doing too much on the bottom. And like, I need my tablet right now. Hold on. I'm so bad. When I have songs that I have sung for many years and I've never had to memorize them just because I always have the music in front of me because we do like hours of repertoire. It's so amazing how your brain shuts off. It's just like, wow, some of those songs I've sung hundreds and thousands of times, but I still can't even memorize them. It's really weird just because I'm having the sheet music in front of me. It's really bad. So let me see. Let me just demonstrate on the example of hello. So a lot of my students start out like this. Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet to go over everything. They say that time's supposed to heal you, but I ain't done much healing. I can't even do it like they do. And then, hello from the other side. I'm just exaggerating. It must have called 1,000 times. The problem here is that it's just not straight and simple enough. It's all over the place. It's wobbling. It's too much digging in. It's trying too hard. It's so much better when you try to be more simple and really focus on having a very clean melody line. Hello, it's me. I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to meet to go over everything. No pushing there. Barely touch the pitches, but be accurate. They say that time's supposed to heal you. See, instead of, they say that time's supposed to heal you. Really think of the pitches. And the problem oftentimes is that you may not even exactly know what pitches you want to sing because you don't really know the melody line. A lot of times when the original singer sings really low, it's hard to determine sometimes the actual pitches. And so instead of actually knowing what you want to do and then doing that, You're just kind of estimating. You're just like, oh, just like somewhere down there. That is just not good enough. Not somewhere down there. Exactly what pitch, even if it's fast moving, if it's just short little pitches that, in sequence, so important to know exactly, even every little short pitch, which pitch do you mean? So important. And then, hello from the other side, instead of hello from the other side. Not too much scooping and sliding. Hello from the other side. Know which pitches you mean. And whenever there is an ad-lib, if you can't do it clean, isolated, I must have called 1,000 times. So she goes, ta, ta, and then there's an accent on the one, ta, a neighboring tone, and then you're coming back and accenting it. So that microcosmos of any melody line is so important for accuracy. And see, then you don't need to do anything else. You don't really need any more fluff. It's like, I must have called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry. And if that's hard, it's like, don't estimate. Tell you I'm sorry. No. To tell you I'm sorry. And unless you really know what pitches you want to sing and slow them down and really register, it's not going to be clean and it's not going to be simple. It's going to be very wobbly. And see, if your audience can't follow and determine exactly what you're doing and where the pitch is, they're not going to like it. I don't like it then. I want to know what you're doing, and I want to know where you are, and I want to know what pitch you mean. If it's like in between and I can't make out, like, where's the melody going? That is really getting on my nerves then. I mean, I'm a musician and I have ears, but don't underestimate your audience. Even people who say, oh, I don't know anything about music, I may be tone deaf, but don't underestimate your audience. They hear so much more than you think. They may not know, like, if you're sharp or flat or what you're doing, but they know something is just not quite right and not accurate. And usually people will name or will call someone a good singer when they have good pitch accuracy, and they will call someone a bad singer when they're not accurate in pitch. So, couple more things. So this is just something I wanted to just touch on. I haven't been reading because I'm just concentrating what I'm saying. I did want to remind you that, oh yes, I'm going to announce it. Like, I'm going to make a video and post it. There will be another webinar next week about, if you have been wondering or thinking about working with me personally, there will be another free webinar where you can jump on a group call with me and like a video chat. And it will be about how you can work with me in my masterclass or another program. So I know a lot of you have asked me about my programs, and there's a lot of questions. And I want to generally even talk about what would be the best way for you to make progress and what the benefits are of different ways of studying. You know, there's online courses where you self-study. There is Skype lessons with coaches. There is local lessons with a teacher. There's even reading books about how to sing or with CDs. And I want to talk about the different ways where you can study and what the benefits are and what the disadvantages are of some of them. And then you can talk to me and ask me any questions about if you have been wondering if you wanted to work with me personally. So that will be next week. I didn't write it down in my calendar, but I already decided when I'm going to do it. I'm going to make another video and post it here on YouTube announcing when this is going to take place. You have to register for it because I'm going to give you a link to join a video conference, which I'm not going to make public, of course. Otherwise, people, I don't know, I just want people in there who are really serious about being there and talking to each other. So that, another thing I wanted to touch on, and like, just by the way, there is a few more spots in my masterclass available right now. I don't know how much longer I'm going to take people into it because it is a lot of work for me, but I'm enjoying it so much. But I want to give everyone the one-on-one attention. every single day, and that's why I can't take on too many people. So you may have seen in the past few weeks that I have been posting on Tuesdays. I have not been posting singing tip kind of videos, but I have been posting performance type videos, and I want to keep some older hard drives, and even I just got the CD or the recordings of a concert that was a few months ago. I decided I really wanted to publish a lot of those because, first of all, I just want to kind of encourage you, because I do a lot of different genres. I'm going to be posting some opera too, because I have done opera in the past, and so I'm going to post a few of those. But also, I don't know, I think it's so important that everybody sees that what I tell you comes from all of that experience of me being on stage, doing a lot of different genres, a lot of different situations, different sized audience. And I have a lot of experience in how you need to sing differently depending on, how big the audience is, how intimate you become, what kind of genre you're singing, how long you're going to be singing on that particular gig. So I just kind of wanted to share some of those situations so you can see basically how much variety you can have in your voice. And I just always think you don't have to just do one thing. I think it's very good to always try a lot of different things. Okay, let's see. Now let me try to read up on some of these questions here. Okay, someone's asking, Ariane Ford is asking, can you demonstrate a great vibrato technique before you end this live chat? Okay, vibrato is a huge subject and I get asked a lot. And I did make some videos about vibrato. And I always say that I don't really believe in teaching vibrato in a very technical sense. Like some teachers will teach you the variation in pitch, which can be a good starting point if you have absolutely no idea what a vibrato will feel like. Then you can start with a slight variation in pitch, not a half tone, not a quarter tone. It's a lot less than that. So, yeah. So that would be a slow variation in pitch. So did you hear? I went up just a little bit from that pitch and came back. And then you can speed it up. Yeah. But I just don't think that an exercise like that will really teach you a good and natural vibrato. I find that the best way to find vibrato is maybe trying that out just to kind of feel where it's taking place, which you can't really put your finger on it because it should be very, very small. It should not be extremely obvious. The best way to find it is that to kind of have someone coach you and work with you, and then whenever you do have it, or record yourself, and you will hear if you have it. It's a little hard for you if you're not trained to hear it, but I experience this all the time to where it just does come out a little bit for everyone sometimes. And that's exactly. So if you worked with me and you were singing and I would say, there, right now, you just did it. That's something we would focus in on. And whenever it happens, we would try to kind of like make you aware of the fact that now it just now happened. And then I do exercises trying to bring in a vibrato in a more conscious way, like ma, 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 ma. For a lot of people, it's easier to do a vibrato when you're on a more relaxed and not a high pitch. The higher the pitch, usually the harder it becomes for most singers, especially when you're a beginner, because your vocal cords are very tense, very, very tightened. And it gets very much harder to have a variation then. It gets kind of tense. So Vibrato is also a really good indicator of your placement. If you have a good placement, the chances are much greater that you will have a vibrato. But do an exercise like that to where on the last pitch you can focus on vibrato. Ma, 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 ma. Like this, my voice, it depends if you're female or male. If you're a male, you're probably going to be lower than I was doing right now. But ma, 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 ma. And just try it. Try to make it kind of obvious to where it's not too tiny. And then just try to zero in. And then the next step, which probably will take weeks and months to even do this all the time and just kind of find it and just kind of have a feeling like I know what I'm doing and I think I can control whether I'm doing it or not, then you can move on to actually making it faster, slower, bigger, smaller. So I can make a vibrato, ma, way big, ma, a lot smaller. So depending on the song you're singing, you also want to vary the amount of vibrato you have. Every genre kind of has its own rules a little bit of what's acceptable and what not. So I probably could do a whole class just on vibrato. Probably I should someday. I could do a whole workshop just on vibrato, like an hour-long workshop, probably, or even more, a series, because it is a huge subject. But okay, let's see. How can I make about riffs and runs? How can I make it clear each articulation? Okay, I don't like what you want to. The best way to practice riffs and runs and anything that goes faster, like melisma, is when you have sequences, yeah, stuff like that. It's really good to find groups and to find what is the accented part and what is the unaccented part. That is the major difficulty that a lot of singers have, is that they don't make this heavy light, heavy light, heavy light. So if you have a riff, I can never think of a song. I need to make me a list of songs that do certain things like, yeah. So it's not, yeah, but it's, yeah. Yeah. See how I'm always, there is a heavy and a light. Yeah. Especially when I want to speed up. Yeah. When I want to speed anything up, I need that heavy light. Otherwise, I'm not as quick. I can't move quickly when I'm constantly heavy on the pitches. And I always make group. There's this, I make groups. I can't even remember right now, but in the Think of Me, the end of Think of Me and Phantom of the Opera, yeah, I always teach it in groups of four, yeah, see, and then you can speed it up. But you can't speed it up if you make everything. It's really hard. Much easier. And in order to do clean riffs and runs, you really have to have good support. Otherwise, you're going to slur and nobody's going to hear where one pitch starts and the next one starts. See, you don't know where, like, no definition. You really want to separate the pitches, but what you must never do is stuff like that. Don't separate it by a breath. No, that sounds not pretty. Okay. Ariane Ford, absolutely. You excite me for taking classes with you in the future. Thank you. That would be awesome. It'll allow me to build more confidence when you point out those type of skills I present while singing. Excellent demonstration. Well, thank you very much. You're very welcome. I appreciate your comment. And like I said, I'm going to announce it this week. If you want to be at that free webinar next week, then we can chat more about how I can help you best. One simple question, Mika. It's a major issue for me. Why I can hit high notes before C5, D5, or even E5 without mic, and always get neck strain tensed with mic that I can't even hit a simple F sharp F4. Okay, yeah, singing with a mic is a whole different story. When you sing with a mic, you usually change everything because you're hearing yourself differently. And that is something you really have to practice a lot, to where you do not change your placement and technique when you're hearing yourself differently. Um, you have to really learn to rely more about feeling your voice than just hearing your voice. Because if you rely only on hearing it, it will always change depending on what setting you're in. Like even when you have a mic, and like each and every gig I go to, the sound will change for me, because if I'm hearing myself out of the speakers, and of course, what comes out of speakers will be so much louder than your actual voice. So you will always hear that over your voice. You have to really start feeling, and that's how you have to really study your voice, is not just hearing, but it is a combination of hearing, but also feeling and knowing, kind of knowing what would it feel like to have the placement that is accurate and that is correct. And what does it feel like when I'm starting to strain? And unless you know what that feels like, it's really hard to just rely on your ears, because as soon as you have a mic and you start hearing yourself out of the speakers, you will compensate with your voice, because you're thinking, oh, I'm loud. And then you usually strain, you're taking it back, or you get more breathy. That happens a lot of times too, because you're hearing yourself loud and you don't have any need to project more and to have better vocal cord closure. This is all very in your subconscious happening. But this is always what happens. I remember the times when I started singing with a mic. I did opera for many years, and of course, you don't use mics. And when I started to sing with a band, it was very hard. I did strain when I sang with a mic. So you really have to start learning how to not change your technique when you're singing with a mic, but just to really memorize what it feels like to sing, and then do the same, even if what you hear sounds different. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. Oh, Alex, that is wonderful. I'm following you from New Zealand. I'm a huge fan of your work. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I follow your video tips and love to recommend your channel to my friends. Well, thank you. I have a bit of a different question here. Okay. What would you say to someone who really isn't confident in their voice but would love to sing? My girlfriend has a deeper voice and is very depressed because she thinks it's impossible to go high. Oh, this is so, I always think it's so sad. Oops, my student is coming in a few minutes. I need to kind of wrap it up here. I think it's really so sad that there are so many. I mean, a lot of singers that are popular sing high, but that singing high is not the be all end all. I have worked with so many, especially women, who didn't have a high voice, but their range was actually really large. So, but their voice just sat a little bit lower. So I wouldn't care so much about how high can you sing, but what is the overall range? So maybe, like, I always envy other female singers who can actually sing lower, because I can't train that low end. Like, it's the end for me. The high end you can train a lot, but the low end, it's like definitely there is a limit. And I would tell her there are beautiful low voices out of there. Like, if you like Diana Krall, she does not have a high voice, or the Carpenters, the singer from the Carpenters, she had not a high voice. She she sang pretty low and it sounded beautiful. Okay, why is somebody just ringing the doorbell? Hold on. Oh, it's just the post office, which doesn't matter. So yeah, my dog is barking. I'm sorry. So yeah, I would tell her to come on here. Hey. I'm sorry. He's not going to stop barking now because somebody rang the bell. They're just going to leave it. I got a package, I'm sure. Fatty, come here. Here's my doggy. Beautiful doesn't mean high. Beautiful can mean anywhere. And if you can make it sound beautiful and you have a low to mid voice, it's still, I would rather hear you sing accurate and clean if you didn't have a high voice than someone who sings high and sounds horrible. That is just my opinion. Okay, I do have to wrap it up. I'm sorry. I don't have any more time. I'm going to try to do another Q&A. Wrapping it up now because in 4 minutes my student is going to show up here. Um, Thanks for hanging out. I would love to see some of you on my webinar. Like I said, I'm going to post the information on how to sign up probably, hopefully maybe tomorrow, even if I can. But I'm going on a vacation over a longer weekend, Thursday through Sunday. I'm going to be in the mountains in Austria. So hopefully maybe I could still make it tomorrow. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for your support. And I'm always happy to help. That's why I'm going to jump on here again, hopefully soon. Have a wonderful day. God bless always. Keep on singing. Bye.